Welcome to Official Bible Stories. In the ancient lands of Galilee, nestled between rolling hills and vibrant fields, there lay a village by the sparkling waters of the Sea of Galilee. This village was known for its serene beauty and bustling markets, but most importantly, it was a place where people gathered to hear the teachings of Jesus. His words inspired hope, faith, and love, attracting crowds from far and wide. One evening, after a long day of healing the sick and preaching to thousands, Jesus felt a deep need for solitude. He called his 12 disciples, who had become like family to him, and said, "Go ahead of me across the sea. I will join you later." With a mix of curiosity and concern, the disciples obeyed, boarding a sturdy fishing boat. As the boat set off, Jesus ascended a nearby hill to pray, seeking strength and wisdom. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the waters. The air was still, and the sound of gentle waves was calming. However, as the night progressed, dark clouds began to roll in. The peaceful sea transformed into a swirling tempest. The winds howled fiercely, tossing the boat about like a toy. The experienced fishermen fought against the rising waves, their hearts pounding with fear. The boat rocked violently, and they began to doubt their survival. "Row harder," shouted James, gripping the oars with white knuckles. "We can't let it take us." But despite their efforts, the storm raged on, threatening to capsize them. In the midst of the chaos, the disciples spotted a figure emerging through the rain and mist. "It's a ghost!" cried John, his voice quaking with fear. But as the figure drew closer, they recognized the familiar face of Jesus. "Take courage. It is I. Don't be afraid." His voice cut through the storm like a beacon of light. The disciples were stunned. Could it be true? Was Jesus really walking on the turbulent waters? It was both a terrifying and awe-inspiring sight. Peter, ever the bold one, felt a surge of courage. "Lord, if it's you, command me to come to you on the water," he shouted, his eyes locked onto Jesus. "Come," Jesus replied simply. Without hesitation, Peter climbed over the side of the boat and stepped onto the water. For a brief moment, he felt the exhilaration of walking on the waves, his heart filled with faith. But soon, he glanced at the roaring winds and towering waves, and doubt filled his mind. "Lord, save me," he cried as he began to sink. In an instant, Jesus reached out his hand, grasping Peter firmly and lifting him back to safety. As they climbed back into the boat, the storm ceased instantly. The winds died down, and the sea became calm. The disciples were left in awe, realizing the magnitude of what they had just witnessed. They worshipped Jesus, proclaiming, "Truly, you are the Son of God." In that moment, they understood that faith could triumph over fear. Peter's brief falter reminded them of their humanity, but Jesus' steady hand showed them the importance of trust. They learned that even when storms rage around them, faith in Jesus could bring peace. The next day, news of the miracle spread throughout the region. Villagers from nearby towns flocked to see Jesus, bringing the sick and suffering in hopes of healing. Jesus welcomed them all, speaking words of comfort and performing miracles that filled hearts with hope. People began to share their stories of despair turned into joy, their lives transformed by faith. The village, once merely a place of trade and routine, became a hub of miracles and teachings. Families gathered to discuss Jesus' lessons, and soon they were united by a strong sense of community and purpose. As time went on, the disciples grew closer to Jesus. They shared laughter and tears, and each miracle deepened their understanding of his mission. They learned to rely on one another, forming bonds that would withstand the trials to come. One evening, as they sat around a fire, Peter reflected on the stormy night. "I was afraid, but in that moment I felt his hand pull me up. I will never forget that." The others nodded, each recalling their own struggles and moments of doubt. They realized that their journey with Jesus was not just about witnessing miracles. It was about learning to trust in something greater than themselves. Years passed, and as the disciples spread Jesus' teachings across the land, they carried the lessons of that night with them. They faced persecution and hardship, yet they stood firm in their faith, inspired by the memory of the storm and the hand that saved them. The story of Jesus walking on water became a symbol of hope for many. It reminded people that, despite life's storms, they could find peace through faith. Villages transformed as more individuals encountered Jesus and embraced his message of love and compassion. The miracle of Jesus walking on water is a powerful reminder that faith can conquer fear. It teaches us that, even in our darkest moments, help is always within reach. Jesus' unwavering love and support remind us to trust, even when we feel overwhelmed. As the sun set over the Sea of Galilee, the villagers gathered to share stories of hope, love, and faith, knowing that with Jesus, they could face any storm that life brought their way. And thus, the legacy of that miraculous night continued to inspire generations, echoing the call to believe, even when the waves crash around us.